Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Candace with Sacred Mommyhood, and I am so glad that you are here. It has been a couple weeks since I have posted a video. For those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that we took a trip to Kenya, and the intention was to get videos out while we were there, but the internet just did not cooperate. We had very little internet, and we just were not able to get those videos out. Some of you may remember that I work with my dad on this YouTube channel. He is my editor. Hi, Dad. And the process is getting clips to him, and he does all the editing, and then he uploads, and I could not get any clips to him. And so we are obviously back, and we are working on those now. So I think before this video is posted, there will be our first Kenya video, which is just kind of days 1 and 2. It's really just travel, and so that should be coming soon, and the rest of the videos as we work on them will be coming out soon. So I was tagged on a self-care routine video, and I was tagged by another YouTube mom. She's a large family mom. Her name is Christina, and her channel is called Graceful Joys. And I've watched her for a long time, and I really enjoy watching her. She is a mom of 12, and she has a lot of wisdom, and I've really been enjoying her channel. So thank you, Christina, for tagging me on this video, and we will go ahead and jump right into the questions. So basically this is how do we take care of ourselves? I know self-care is a big topic in the social media world, and so this will be self-care from a large family mom. Okay, question number 1. Do you set aside time to do things you enjoy? The answer for me is, I would say yes and no. I think as moms, we all go through periods of time where we can set aside time, and then there's just seasons in our life where so many things are going on at once, and you really can't necessarily set aside that time, but I do manage to find the time when it's really needed. And so some of those things may include reading, just getting a few minutes of reading in. I really love to do embroidery, and so if I have a good chunk of time to do that, that is something I really try to set aside time for if I have it in my schedule. I really enjoy taking walks, and so that's another thing that kind of ebbs and flows, but I enjoy getting out and walking, and I usually listen to an audiobook if I'm out walking by myself. And I really enjoy having lunch with friends, and so that's something that definitely we schedule and I put on my calendar. And so yeah, sometimes I'm able to set aside specific time, and then other times it's just kind of making it happen because you're feeling like you're missing the things that you enjoy. Question number 2, when was the last time you had a makeover? This one I had to giggle at because, and I think Christina had a similar answer. It was 1991. So makeovers just aren't my thing. I, once in a great while will go cut my hair, but even then I cut my own hair. I cut my family's hair, and so even for me to get out of the house to go have someone else cut my hair, that is very rare. And so back in 1999, Greg and I had already been married, and a friend of mine wanted to take some glamour portraits of me. She was working at a glamour studio, and Greg, my husband, was away at basic training, and so she thought it would be nice to kind of do the whole makeover thing and send some pictures to my husband. And so we did that, and it was a lot of fun. She was a very talented photographer, but yes, that was the last time, 1991. Okay, number 3. In the last 3 days, have you taken a nature walk? The answer to that is no. The biggest reason, because we do enjoy nature walks, we have trails behind our home, and so we often take the kids back there and we'll take walks. And then where we live, we have a lot of parks that have beautiful trails. We enjoy doing that on occasion. But as far as the last 3 days, that's simply because my husband and I and our 3-year-old just got back from Kenya, and we are still struggling to get back on our time schedule. We have just been exhausted. I think we've been back 5 days now, and we're still finding it difficult to kind of stay awake long enough at night, you know, not waking up early in the morning. So, and also getting back, you've been gone for 2 weeks, you just have a lot to come home to, a lot of things that need tending to, you know, big grocery shopping days and catching up on the budget and all those things. So no, I have not gotten outside in the last 3 days, but I would think in the next day or two, we will make that happen. Question number 4, when was the last time you journaled? So I'm not a big journaler. That's another thing that kind of ebbs and flows with me. I enjoy the idea of journaling, but to actually sit down and do it, I don't have the time. But with that said, I did do a little journaling while we were in Kenya because I wanted to document some things that I just didn't want to forget. So I did sit down a couple times and do that. And here is my current journal. It's a really nice one, but rarely do I actually sit down and write in it. So I did a little bit recently on our trip, but I don't do it very often. Okay, question number 5. When was the last time you made a list of all the things you are grateful for? So for me, I actually do that almost on a daily basis. I say almost because there are definitely days I forget to do that. But the reason I do it is because I ordered this book on Amazon and I have really enjoyed it. I will try to remember to link it in the description box, but it's very easy. It's just a daily gratitude journal, and you put, there's spaces for 3 things a day. Well, I think most of us can think of more than three things that we're thankful for, but it kind of offers a no pressure, you know, it's something that you can sit down and fill out in just a matter of minutes. And so if you're looking for something like that, I would recommend that. So like I said, pretty much every day I sit down and write at least 3 things I'm thankful for. Often I'm adding more things to the list underneath the lines. Okay, let's see. Question number 6, I think, is where I am. Which 3 words describe you best? Christina said the same thing. This was a hard one for me. And so I asked my oldest daughter, who is 26, and she helped me come up with some words. I was thinking of the first word, which is leader. I do have sort of a leader personality, maybe sometimes kind of that stronger personality. If I am in an area that I don't know a whole lot about, or doing something that I might not know a whole lot about, I am perfectly happy to follow another leader. I don't mind doing that, but in general, I tend to have more of a leadership personality. And then the other words that she came up with was organizer. I am an organizer. I enjoy organizing, whether it's things in my home or organizing events or just whatever needs organizing. And I think as a large family mom, even if you don't start out as an organizer, I think as your family grows, it just comes, because otherwise there's chaos. And so anyway, so leader, organizer, and the third word she came up with was dedicated. So I thought that was very sweet, just being dedicated to my family and homeschooling and the things that are in our lives. So those 3 words. Okay, number 7, do you have nagging thoughts you need to address, and how do you deal with these thoughts? So the first part of that, do you have nagging thoughts you need to address? Initially I was thinking, no, I can't think of anything. But I guess the only thing would be just the possibility of future missions. We went on this trip to meet the missionaries, to really get familiar with the organization, the ministry, to see if it was something we felt God was calling us to do. And we came home just knowing that we would spend some time praying about it. We will be having a meeting with the, I guess you would call him kind of the lead missionary, and kind of debrief the trip. And so that would, I don't know if I would call that nagging. I would just call it, it's something that's definitely on our minds and we're continuing to pray about. But I know there's been times that I have had nagging thoughts, and the way I deal with these thoughts is first, I pray. I think that is the most important thing that you do when you're struggling with, some thoughts swirling around in your head. We've got to go to the Lord first, and we need to ask for wisdom. We need to ask for direction and discernment and guidance. And sometimes just getting it off your chest to the Lord might give you some perspective on whatever that nagging thought is. And so that's the first thing. Some other ways I deal with it is talking to my husband, maybe talking to a friend, depending on what it is. I'm a pretty private person, but I do have about 3 very, very close friends that I feel comfortable with, maybe sharing some deeper thoughts. And sometimes these nagging thoughts maybe are issues that we're dealing with in our own heart. And again, I think talking about it and praying about it, and asking the Lord to kind of reveal in us if we're maybe struggling with a heart issue. So that is the way I deal with nagging thoughts, things that just weigh on me and bother me. Okay, question number 8. How much personal time do you need each week to function well and feel happy? This definitely differs from week to week because there's no set time that I need. I mean, some weeks I might feel completely wiped out and really need some time to kind of reset. And then other weeks just fly by, and you don't really think about yourself. You just kind of go along doing the things that you're used to doing. But we also have some set routines in place that I think offer me a lot of personal time. And I think that's why I don't necessarily need on a regular basis a whole lot of personal time. One of those things is our rest time every day from 1 to 3, which is right now, and why it's quiet because all my kids are at rest time. So from 1 to 3 every day, they go to rest time. Our little ones tend to nap sometimes, and then our older kids they're just quiet in their rooms. The general rule is you read for an hour laying on your bed, and then after that you can play quietly. And so all of our kids share bedrooms, and so they just have to make sure they can play Legos on the floor or do a craft or something. So the rule is they have to stay in their room and they have to be quiet. And so that gives me 2 hours of just kind of reset. And I do all kinds of different things during this rest time. Sometimes I have to run to the store or run an errand. Sometimes I take that time to read. I love reading articles online, different articles in many subjects. So sometimes I'll use that time because I'll leave a lot of tabs up on my computer, and so I'll go through those tabs reading each of those articles, and then if they're really good, I will leave them up for my husband to read. Let's see. And so yeah, that's 2 hours of just kind of rest for all of us, and it's really, really good. The other thing is, and this is going to sound odd to a lot of people, but it is something we have done since we started having children. All of our kids go to bed at 8 o'clock. Some people think that is very, very early. We have, obviously we have 2 adult children who don't live here, but we have teenagers, and so they don't necessarily have to go to bed, but everyone goes to their rooms at 8 o'clock, and the older ones are free to do whatever they want in their rooms as long as it's quiet. They often like to read and just, do whatever they want to do in their room. So they're not necessarily having to go to bed, but the reason we've always maintained this is because I think it's so important for my husband and I to have that time in the evening. And we're usually falling asleep. We're usually ready for bed by 10 o'clock. And so by putting our kids to bed, that gives us 2 hours every evening to just recover from the day. He and I catch up. He works 60 hours a week. And so he's gone a lot, and that gives us time to just spend time catching up on things, discussing things. Sometimes we just sit and watch a movie and enjoy a cup of coffee. With that said, there are evenings that our kids do stay up. Like, we have a lot of family movie nights, and there's times where our teenagers, want to have conversations with us. And so this isn't a 100% hard and fast rule. This is just our general routine, but there certainly are days where the kids will stay up late with us, or like I said, our teenagers, want to talk to us about things. And so, but that is generally how we operate. So I think between having the rest time and putting our kids to bed at 8 o'clock, we're getting those times of quiet and rest, and that makes a huge difference. And so another thing that I mentioned earlier as far as personal time, that helps me to function well and feel happy is, and I mentioned this before, I really enjoy having lunch with friends. I have about maybe 4 or 5 close friends that, and it's not something that I can plan all the time because the other moms are very busy too, but it's just so nice when you can sit down with a friend and just kind of encourage each other and talk to each other. And so that's something else that definitely makes me feel happy. Okay, question number 9. How do you sabotage yourself? I had to think about this one, but I think ways that I sabotage myself is when I don't plan and when I don't prepare for things. So for instance, we have, we operate on a menu. I have planned shopping lists and things like that. But when it's gotten busy, or maybe I was feeling run down, I just couldn't get to it. It makes shopping a lot harder if I don't have the menu planned. And so then I'm kind of aimlessly wandering, okay, what are we gonna have? And and then when it comes times to make the meals, you're struggling to figure out, okay, what are we gonna make? And some of our kids also help cook meals. And so if mom has not prepared and planned in the meal department, it really just makes it difficult. So that is definitely a way that can be sabotaged. Same with, say, Sunday mornings, getting 11 people ready for church and out the door. If we don't prepare the night before, it's definitely more chaotic on a Sunday because someone inevitably is always missing a shoe, can't find their tight, just whatever. And so by planning and preparing the night before, that definitely helps things to go smoothly. So I would just say, in general, not having a plan, not being prepared, so that life runs smoothly. And then also other ways that I can sabotage myself is just having too high of expectations. But I'm definitely learning that that's an area that I feel like I'm growing in. And it's not to say that we should have low expectations for everything, but my expectations tend to be too high. And so when your expectations are too high in maybe certain situations, that can be a way of sabotaging because you had this expectation and you were let down in some way, and that could cause problems. So, but I am learning not to have too high of expectations. Okay, question number 10, and this one's kind of in different parts, so I will try to move through it fairly quickly. What are my favorite ways to take care of myself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? So let's start with physically. Okay, so right now I feel like I'm in a season where I'm not really taking great care of myself physically. I keep mentioning seasons, and boy, we go through different seasons, and I've gone through seasons where I have been diligent about exercising and walking, and for years I was a runner and I ran half marathons. I've done more 5Ks than I can count. I've done a 10 miler and 8 miler. I mean, I've done a lot of races, and that was so great because I was setting aside that dedicated time to run almost on a daily basis early in the morning. But right now I'm just not there. I do good to try to get out for a walk. I take supplements, different kind of supplements, and I generally eat fairly healthy. Sometimes I probably don't eat the best things, but we do cook all of our meals at home, and so I try to always prepare balanced meals with vegetables and protein and stuff like that. So, but I think I should probably be doing a little bit more as far as just getting out in the sunshine, if not running, at least walking, and hopefully I can get that going again soon. What are my favorite ways to take care of myself emotionally? This one was a little bit harder to answer because I couldn't really think of ways I take care of myself emotionally. I think if I'm struggling with my emotions, it might have like outside factors, like hormones could be out of whack, and so if I sense that it's a hormonal issue, then I take various supplements. I make sure I'm eating properly to get my hormones balanced, and typically when my hormones are balanced, I feel pretty stable emotionally. If I am struggling emotionally, then I talk with the Lord. It's just kind of ongoing conversations, that I would have throughout the day, just talking to him about my struggles and asking him, to help me and, show me how to deal with it. If it's a particular situation, show me how to deal with it. Obviously, talking to my husband is a big thing because sometimes our husbands can see things from different points of view, or just maybe just taking care of us emotionally. My husband is very good about saying kind things to me and encouraging me, and I think that also fills my tank emotionally. And so I hope I answered that one okay. Okay, now mentally. I think this is probably all sorts of different things, but I know that I function best mentally when I have gotten enough rest. I definitely know that when I am tired, I just do not function mentally at all. And sometimes there isn't anything you can do about it. It's just hard to find times of rest, but that's the first thing. If I've gotten enough rest, I definitely feel great mentally. Some other things that I do to take care of myself mentally is, again, I mentioned reading, and I love reading encouraging articles. I love reading books, and so let me show you some of the books that I am currently reading. I have a habit of reading like 4 or 5 books at the same time. And so this is one of them that I'm reading, Discipline by Elizabeth Elliot. I have actually read this book twice over the many years, and I love it. So I am reading it again. Again, it's just something very encouraging to me and growing spiritually. I am also reading 5 Love Languages of Children, and so I've really enjoyed this. I think this is a great book for parents to read to really understand how their children operate and what fills their tanks. This one I've been reading for a while, Culture Shift by Al Mohler. It's a great book. It's just a lot of it is things that I am already aware of, because we follow kind of what's going on in the culture pretty closely. But that is really good. I'm enjoying that. And then I am reading this one, When Helping Hurts. This one was recommended to us by the missionaries who are serving in Kenya, and they recommended that we read that to kind of understand their model of how they work. My husband actually finished the book before we left, and I only got about halfway through it before we left, and so I am continuing to read it. It is very good. If you're someone who is considering missions, or not even necessarily considering, going out on the mission field, but just maybe missions that you donate to here from the States, whatever, it really gives a lot of insights into the best way to go about helping others, especially in third world countries. And so I recommend that if you're looking for something like that to read. And so for me, that feeds me mentally. I love reading theology books. I love reading mothering books. I love reading, I don't know, a lot of different kinds of things. Usually I'm not a fiction reader. I like things that are gonna help me grow in some way, or something that I can learn more about. And so that really feeds me mentally. Okay, last one, we're almost there. The last one is spiritually. So the favorite ways to take care of myself spiritually, I think probably the same as everyone else. Your normal spiritual disciplines, like praying, praying, having my own time with the Lord, and usually that's just all day, throughout the day. We pray as a family. My husband prays. My husband and I pray together, reading the Bible, reading God's Word, going to church, attending Bible studies. These are all ways to take care of ourselves spiritually, and these are ways that I take care of myself spiritually. And I also enjoy doing some devotionals. And so the ones that I am doing right now that I'm really enjoying is She Reads Truth. And so I have it on my phone, and I also have it on my laptop. I don't do a whole lot on my phone. I text and I take pictures, but I am not a fan of reading things on my phone, or it's just too small and I just don't prefer it. And so early in the morning when I wake up, that's usually the first thing I do, is I go to the She Reads Truth, which is a tab that I just have permanently up on my laptop, and I read that day's devotion, and that definitely gets my morning started off right. And of course there's mornings that I maybe woke up on the later side and didn't read it. I might try to do that during rest time or catch up on it. And another thing that I enjoy reading, and I don't do this one every day, but it is called, I'm sure you're familiar with it, My Utmost for His Highest. But I don't read this anymore. I've had this for years and have read through it. But now I do have that on my phone as an app. And I use that for times that, say, I might be sitting in my van waiting to pick up a child, or sitting in a waiting room or something like that. That is when I pull up that app, and I just get those few minutes of spiritual encouragement. And so I do enjoy that. So we've made it through all the questions. I hope that I got through all of them. But just as a reminder, I was tagged by Graceful Joys. Her name is Christina, and I hope that you will go over there and check out her channel. She's such a sweet mama and has a lot of wisdom to offer. And if you are interested in doing this type of video, please feel free to do your own video, and maybe link to my YouTube channel if you wouldn't mind. And then I will go ahead and tag Annie from, Ooh, I should have looked this up. My Cup Overflows. The reason I blanked on it is because she recently changed her channel name. Okay, so Annie from My Cup Overflows. Annie is one of my in real life friends, and she's so precious and has 6 beautiful kids, and I really am enjoying her videos. So Annie, if you see this and you are available to do this, I tag you. But I welcome anyone to join in this video if you are interested. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.